Howdy there, friends and neighbors. Hey, messy gutters that are full of debris, full of junk, can actually cause quite a bit of damage to your home. So in today's video, we're going to show you how you can clean your own gutters the easy way. Let's go ahead and jump in. All right, so before we get started actually showing you how to clean your gutters, what I want to do is show you the tools that you're going to need to make sure that you can do this both easily and successfully. First thing you need, I'm going to recommend that you got to have a ladder. Now, it's got to be a ladder that's tall enough to get you to the highest gutter. So if you've got a one-story house like this, you may not need a really tall ladder, but there's a little surprise on a house like this, and the fact that it's a raised rancher. Let me show you what it looks like on the other side of the house, and you can see that not only do we need a ladder that can get us up to the roof line here, but we need a much taller ladder to get up to the roof line in the back. Now, here's why I would recommend that you have two ladders for a house like this, because we have a 28-foot ladder set up on one side of the house to get that really high spot. You wouldn't want to use a 28-foot ladder here because it's going to extend up and over the eave too far. So then the next thing that you're going to want is this little tool right here, the ladder's little helper. This has been a wonderful tool for us to have. So what you do with this is you can put it on a telescoping pole, you can run it up, hook it onto the gutter. I don't know if you can see, it's got those rubber pads on the inside. So this hooks onto the gutter, and then you put your ladder against it like this. So that keeps the ladder from scratching up the gutter. Then it's got these rubber pads right here. That helps keep your ladder from actually sliding. Well, these fins right here keep it from sliding this way or this way, but the rubber pads prevent the ladder from sliding out from underneath you like this, because these help grip the ladder's edge. So this is a great tool. I strongly recommend that you get one of these tools. They're like 30 bucks or something like that. Short of the ladder's little helper, you're going to want to make sure that you're attaching or fastening your ladder to something. Usually a gutter hanger is the best thing to do. And to do that, I usually use gear ties. I love gear ties. Gear ties to me are like the duct tape of gutter cleaning world, I guess. Any world. Gear ties are awesome. So this is what a gear tie looks like. So you can see it's just got the plastic cover. It's got a wire inside, can bend, form, shape. You can use it to wrap up hoses, you can use it to wrap up wires, but my favorite thing to do with a gear tie is I attach it to the gutter hanger, wrap it up and around, tie the ladder to it, so that way the ladder can't shift this way, can't shift this way. Ideally, you want one that's a little bit longer than this. This is a 12-inch one. You're going to want one that's closer to 18 inches. Even a 24-inch one would suffice. If you don't have the ladder's little helper or a gear tie, next best thing is a bungee cord, which is actually what we had to use on the ladder here today. All right, well, the next tool that's really helpful to have is this little tool right here called a gutter Hawg. So I know you can buy these off Amazon. That's where I bought this one, and they're pretty cheap. You can get them as cheap as $15, $20, right around that price, and they're really hard plastic, so they won't break. And the super cool thing about these is you can attach them to a telescoping pole that's got a screw-in thread on it, and then you can put your ladder in one spot, put this on your telescoping pole, extend your pole out as far as it'll go. You know, oftentimes a pole is going to go 10 to 12 feet. Put this on there. From your one ladder spot, now you can reach 10 feet out. But I don't recommend that you extend it all the way at first. Best thing to do is to use this tool, you know, with your pole collapsed, and start scraping everything towards you. First of all, what you want to do is scoop out all the gunk that's right in front of you and toss that in your bucket. Now you've got, you know, 4 foot to 6 foot open space in the gutter in front of you, and you can use this. You can use the paddle end to drag the debris towards you. When it comes to one of the hangers, you just flip it over, use the hook to push it underneath the hanger, flip it back over, and start drawing it towards you again. Once you get it close enough to yourself, then you can just pull it out with your hands, dump it in your bucket. Then extend your pole another section, Now you can reach further and further. If you try to extend your pole all the way, now you're going to be trying to move all of that debris, all the weight of that debris, and it's not going to go underneath the gutters very well. So start closer to you, move further away. The gutter hog, I'm telling you, you cannot go wrong. This is a great investment if you want to try cleaning your own gutters. The next thing that you're going to want is a long hose. I recommend a 100-foot long hose. That way you can hook it up to one spot. And you can drag it all over the house if you need to. That way you don't have to keep getting down off your ladder, disconnecting the hose, moving it to a different spigot, and then starting over again with it. And get one of these. I mean, these are super cheap. Get these at Ace Hardware or anywhere. And so they've got the different settings on them. And I like to put it on the jet setting, because that way after you get all the debris cleaned out of your gutter, you can use this and wash all the dust and stuff that you couldn't pick up with your hands, and just rinse that right down the downspout. The next tool that I'm going to recommend really isn't a tool, it's apparel, but some gloves. Now Jason, he likes the nitro gloves, but in my opinion those are a little too thin for wanting to do this. Now you can get some thicker nitro gloves to use, but you're going to want something thick. That's why I like these. They're more roofer's gloves or mechanics gloves, but I like the fact because they're cloth on one side, so they'll breathe a little bit, but they've got that thick rubber or vinyl or silicone coating, whatever this stuff is, and it's got the texture on it, so it helps you grip. But the reason that I like these is because when you're working in the gutters and you're trying to scoop the debris out of the gutter, oftentimes if there's pine needles, that doesn't feel too good. Now, you could say, well, you should have tougher hands. Yeah, I suppose that's true, but nonetheless, you get pine needles stuck in your hands, it doesn't feel that great. And also, as you're scooping stuff toward the corner of a gutter, oftentimes those corners have got some fairly sharp seams in them, and you can cut yourself pretty good on those. That's why I like these, because they're not going to tear and they're going to protect my hands. All right, almost done with the list of tools that you're going to need. Pretty much the only other thing that you're going to need is some Contractor garbage bags. So those are the big kind, they're like 50-gallon or something like that. Again, you can get those at the big box stores, but the heavier duty bag, the better. So you don't want to use just the typical black trash bags. Get the Contractor bags, because they're super thick plastic and they're going to hold a lot more debris. And you're going to want a 5-gallon bucket. So what I like to do is use gear ties, and I like to hang the trash bag from that top rung of the ladder, so that way it's right there in front of me, and as I'm scooping stuff out, I can just toss it right into the bag right in front of me. All right, so now that we've talked about all the tools that you will want to have on hand to be able to do this successfully and easily, let's jump in and actually start cleaning the gutters. So first thing you need to do is set up your ladder. Now remember I talked about the ladder's little helper? That's what I'm going to be using to protect the gutter and also to keep my ladder safe. But we also realize that most homeowners don't have a ladder's little helper, and so that's why I recommend gear ties. You can get the gear ties at the big box store, and they're pretty inexpensive. Just remember to get the 18-inch ones, so that way you've got enough to be able to wrap underneath the rung and around the ladder edge and underneath the gutter hanger. Right now, we're going to go ahead and get our ladder's little helper set up and start getting the ladders set up. Now, I've brought two different types of ladders with me today. One is this multi-ladder, and you know, those are the kind that extend out like this. You can use it as a step ladder, or you can use it as an extension ladder. But one of the reasons why I don't like using these ladders, if I'm going to be using the ladder's little helper, is because the ends flare out. So then they're too wide for the ladder's little helper. To get it to fit inside the ladder helper, you've got to extend it all the way so that the ladder's little helper ends up right here. But then for my liking, I've got too much ladder above the eave. So if I want to get off the ladder onto the roof, then I have to try to maneuver myself around the flare of the ladder. I don't feel safe doing that. So I actually prefer using an extension ladder, and I absolutely love this Werner 3-stage extending ladder. I like it because it fits in the back of my truck, because it's only a little over 6 feet tall, but it can extend up to 18 feet, so you can safely get on a 17-foot eave with a ladder like this. These are the best. So if you're not going to use one of the ladder's little helper and you're just going to be setting your ladder up against the gutter, try to set it down real gently so that it doesn't, you know, slide back and forth or scrape the paint off the gutter. Just be careful, set it up there gently, climb up carefully, then get it tied off. You want to make sure that you get it tied down nice and tight, because you don't want that ladder moving this way or that way, and you especially don't want it sliding out from underneath you. Now, when you're on your ladder, remember the whole goal of this method of cleaning your gutters with the telescoping pole and with the gutter hog is to do it from one spot, right? You don't want to be, you know, having to move your ladder consistently. You want to be able to clean as big of a piece of your gutter as you can from just one ladder spot. So the temptation is going to be, when you're up there on your ladder, to, you know, overextend. So you're up on your ladder and you want to try to get as far as you can. So you're reaching out like this. Don't ever do that. Your ladder's like this. You want to try to make sure that you're keeping your shoulders right in line with the edges of the ladder. Maybe you can go outside a little bit like this, especially if you've got it tied down with a gear tie, or if you've got the ladder helper on there. But by and large, don't overreach your ladder. And that's pretty much it. Once you get all the debris out of the gutter, then if there's, you know, dust or dirt, maybe shingle grit left in the gutter, now it's time, just take your spray nozzle, put it on a hose, and just start gently rinsing out the gutter, right? Because if you put it on jet spray and turn on full blast, then that stuff's going to go everywhere. Then you're going to have streaks and dirt stains and stuff on the outside of your gutter. So just kind of gently, you know, use that stream of water to move everything to the downspout. Now here's a couple tips about a downspout. If it's been a long time since you've cleaned out your downspouts, chances are really good that they could be all clogged up, especially if you live somewhere where there's pine needles or tree leaves, something like that. If you don't have those two things, you really don't have to worry about your downspouts getting clogged up. But if your downspouts all clogged up, then if you're rinsing all that water toward the downspout, it's just going to back up. It's not going to go down the downspout. So here's a couple tips on how to clear out your downspout. One thing that you can do is take your spray nozzle on your hose, turn it on full blast, stick it down in there, and try to rinse everything down the downspout using your hose. And you just watch the downspout and see if water is coming out with a good flow. If the water coming out's got the same flow as the water going in, you know that it's all cleared out. If it's coming out slower, you know that there's still an issue. If that doesn't work, then you can use a tool, rubber mallet, or I like to use my little gutter hog, and you can just hold it, right, and tap, 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 not hard. You don't want to dent the gutter and you don't want to leave marks in the paint on the gutter. Just tap, tap like that, work up the gutter or work down the gutter, and you'll be able to hear the debris inside the gutter start to loosen and fall down the gutter. That's when then now you can take your hose, spray it, wash everything down. If neither of those two things work, you may end up having to disassemble the downspout and clear it out that way. Hopefully you don't have to do that. Now, let me make one other comment about downspouts, because we've got another video that we'll link to, what, here or here, not sure where it'll end up, but about really bad downspouts. And so like on this house, she had those black corrugated plastic pipes that go underground, and they get all plugged up. And she didn't really have any reason to have those. Now there's a couple spots on here where, I think one spot right back here, where she really didn't have any option. It had to go underground, but everywhere else, it didn't have to go underground. And so we ended up replacing that and putting actual extensions on the bottom of the downspouts so that the water could flow freely. Those pipes that go underground, those are bad news. Watch the video and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. They get clogged up too easy and they can back all the way back up to the gutter itself. Okay, so a big shout out to fellow gutter cleaner and window cleaner, Jason Kuntz with Cause Exteriors. I'm going to put a link to his website in the description below. Jason, what did you think of today's job? Was it okay?
It was great.
Was it scary?
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the help. So if people want to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you?
Sure. So our office phone number is 719-401-5576. We're online at Coase Exterior Services.
Coase. I said Cause.
.com. Everybody does.
Sorry. The big challenge that I've got is getting Jason to start a YouTube channel and start putting videos out there. Okay, so leave a comment in the comment section down below if you want Jason to teach you how to clean your windows, how to clean your gutters, how to clean your screens.
Let's start with those things.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, thanks. All right, well, really the only other thing left to tell you about is if the majority of the debris that's in your gutter is just shingle grit, just the granules and maybe just some dust that's blowing around, it's actually easier to clean that out if it's a little wet, because then if you want to scoop it, you can scoop it and it doesn't just run through your fingers like sand, right? The other way to clean that stuff out is put a bucket at the bottom of your downspout and just use your hose and rinse it down the downspout. Then you can put a sieve on the bucket to catch the grit and then let the water go through, and then you just take all the grit, dump it into your trash can. All right, so I hope that's been helpful information for you. If you've got any questions about your roof, whether you need a roof repair or a roof replacement, you can give us a call at our office at right here, 719-433-6991. You can also visit our website, that's right down here, homesteadroofingcolorado.com. We've got a ton of information out there, all of it educational for you. If you've got questions about the content of this video, leave those in the comments section down below. We read and respond to all questions that we get on our YouTube channel. Also, if you like this video, please give us the big thumbs up. Be sure to share the video with other people that you think may need this information. And please subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon up there so that way you get notified when we've got new videos. And until our next video, I'm Tracy Bookman, owner of Homestead Roofing.